Howdy folks, how's it going? Little John on the veranda. Been a while. First day of spring. First day of Little John being unemployed. Man of leisure for the time being. But anyway, today I'm looking at one of the recent brews, Brut IPA and an India Pale Lager. Split batch I did. And this is start of some new ways of going about doing the videos for the brews. I was looking at rolling into grain to glass. This one's going to be glass to grain. I didn't get a lot of footage during brew day on this one, so I tried to put together the video from the normal process going through brew day and all the work through. Didn't really work, so I'm going to taste these. I'm going to rave on about what they taste like, go through the process, and we'll have a look at it, and I'll throw some pictures and little bits of video along the way just to keep you thoroughly entertained. Before we do that, big shout out to the Patreons. Thank you guys for your support. I'm going to do a Patreon draw in a minute. First day of the month, so it's time for the monthly Patreon draw. Links down the bottom of Patreon if you're interested. Have a look at it. Subscribers, thank you very much. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. That way you don't miss anything and get notified when things are happening. And hit the like button as well. So let's do this Patreon draw. This month's prize winner will get. I've got a bunch of new hops coming from Kev at the Hopping Mechanism. So there'll be some hops going out. What kind? It's a good question. I should have checked. I'm trying to think what's there exactly. Probably be a fair chance there'll be some Strata. Maybe some Citra. And yeah, something else. I'll throw 3 kinds of hops in. Enough. I'll throw some hops together. You can do yourself a nice XPA or even an IPA or even a NEPA if you're that way inclined. You might need to add something as big as a NEPA, but I'll throw enough in there. And depending on who the lucky person is, might even throw in a t-shirt or a hat. We'll see we'll have to see how we go. See if it's somebody who's won prizes already. Before I draw this out, big shout out to new Patreons in for the first draw. That's Matty Goldstone and Timmy W. Been mentioned. Oh, actually, I don't know if they've been mentioned. I've got a funny feeling I might have mentioned them originally on the video I was going to do this one that I didn't put out. So anyway, cheers those guys, and also to. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to pronounce this right. Droon Bar. Droon Bar. Obviously, you know who you are, mate. Newest Patreon. You guys are in for your first draw. So good luck to everybody. Make sure I've only got one. There we go. JCA Dino. You're the man. That's our winner for this month, for September. So he'll be getting a little bit of a prize pack coming his way soon. I'll get that organised for you, mate. So JCA, if you're watching, stick a comment somewhere. Get hold of me one way or another. Facebook page, through here, whatever. Let me know what your t-shirt size is. I'll get a shirt out to you, mate. Along with some nice, fresh, beautiful hops from Kev. Righto, Brut IPA and the India Pale Lager. It's a split batch. I've done similar before. I'll stick a link up to the original brew. This one's fairly similar malt in the grain bill wise. I've played around with the hops on this one. because I had the hops here to play around with. Mrs. has wanted me to brew a the Brut IPA. She likes the style. Now I sat these down here and I can't remember which one's which. I'm an idiot. Okay, I think that's the lager and that's the IPA. Anyway, and anyone knows the channel's name. My logic behind these is that, yeah, I don't mind the Brut IPA as a beer. Drinking it as a style, I think it's a little bit of bullshit. And I've always said that I think that the style and the process lends itself more to being a hoppy lager than being an actual IPA. But so, and hence why I split them. And also because I really don't want a full batch of the Brut IPA as it is. I'll happily drink it. I don't want to drink bloody mountains of it. So I split it both ways. So this is the Brut IPA. This fella was kegged. Now it was on the 3rd of August, so it's nearly close enough to a month old. So it's had a good time to condition. The malt bill for a 22 litre batch was 3.2 kilo of Gladfield Pilsner, 810 grams of flaked corn and 810 grams of rolled rice. Mashed at 66 degrees for 60 minutes. 72 degree mash out for 20 minutes. Sparged 78 degree water, finish off. 60 minute boil. So I said, change the hopping up on this one. I've used some Sabro and NZH 107 experimental hop. So the Sabro went in 20 minutes to boil. It's only 12 grams, so it was only just a small bittering charge. Just put a little bit of bitter on, but I didn't want too much. And I was hoping that would be enough to get some of the Sabro characters coming through, because from reading on the Sabro, it's an indication that you get more flavour from the hop if it's used a little bit earlier in the boil, as opposed to later in the boil. So I've used it on a previous brew. It didn't have a lot of impact, so went that way. And the 107 was 50 grams in the whirlpool, which was whirlpool for 20 minutes in the high 80s. I split the batch off at that point, and the IPA was pitched with USA 5. This is the fermenter from the USA. This is the yeast I'm going to use on this brew. You can't really see from there, but I've drained off all the beer. This had no dry hopping or anything in it, so it's lovely and clean. And I'm just going to take three big spoons of that straight into there. Now, I don't know whether you can see there or not, but I've just like sanitised my hands and the spoon very 2 or 3 times they've both been done. So, yep, that should be plenty of yeast. That's super fresh. That's probably close to 80 millilitres of yeast there, which should be somewhere in the vicinity of 200 to 240 billion cells ready to go. So that's plenty. It's only 10 litres. They should go off like a firecracker. So that's an easy way of using yeast if you want to do it. Just take straight off the bottom. It's only good if you're only working the same day. Have a look. That's beautiful. Lovely yeast. And half a packet of alpha-amylase dry enzyme. Just the other dry enzyme packet, half a pack of that, because it was half a batch. And it was dry hopped on day 5 with another 50 grams of the 107. Original gravity on both is 1052. The IPA's gone down to final gravity of 1001. So she's come down fairly low. Now, I couldn't get either of these kegs onto the fridge straight away. So I've primed the keg. I used 40 grams of Dex in the IPA and 45 in the lager. Now, these have been on the keg, in the keg fridge now for, I'm not entirely sure, but it'd be 8-9 days, something like that. So they've had time to sort of gas up and get to a level, but the Brut is certainly not holding as much carbonation as the lager is. So whether that's still coming up to the level from that bit of prime in the keg, I don't know. But the lager was brewed with fermented with 3470, one packet dry, fermented 11 degrees in the fridge. The IPA was fermented at ambient on the garage floor, around 16 degrees. Because I didn't have a fridge to get into, and the temperature was just sitting nicely. So sitting on, alcohol wise, IPA 6.6%. So she got some sting, and ideally probably could have pulled it down a little bit. It was doing a whole batch of its own. I would probably be more inclined to pull it down to maybe a 1040, maybe a 1046 starting point, so you're finishing off in the high fives. It was keg, maybe might have been 5.8. So ideally this one, you want this to be a bloody, an easy drinker, sort of summery sort of a beer. And at 6.6%, that's not what you're getting. Because it drinks real easy and light. And you're certainly not expecting it to be a 6.5% beer. That's going to slap you around the fucking head real quickly if you're sucking on too many. So it's something to certainly work with and look at. Because I was splitting with the lager as well, I sort of had to go enough gravity initially to make sure the lager was still going to be at a high enough level. To be worthwhile. So, but on that topic, the lager finished at 10.16. It bloody really attenuated really low. I don't know why. Was it the dry pitch? Was it only the one pack? Was it was it a result of an under pitch? I don't know. I really can't say for sure. I'm going to assume it's got something to do with that, with it being a short pitch for the lager. But surprisingly for 10.16, you don't really notice it in the finished beer. So how does it taste? That's the big one, isn't it? That's what we want to know. And it's funny, I'm getting the same experience with this. I've got the same, actually got the same finish the last time I brewed this by memory. I find the lager to be crisper and lighter in the body than the IPA, despite, in this case, 15 points of gravity difference. That would sort of indicate that this should be quite a sweet beer. But and it is sweet, but it's only lager sweet. It's that sweet malt. It's not sugary sweet, but it's crisper and lighter bodied than the IPA, which is very, yeah, it's a bit of a mind blow, but that's how it is. Taste wise, the Sabro has really stood up, and it's really it's not super obvious, but it's the main dominator. It's got some nice, there's coconut, it's a little bit of minty edge, and there's a creamy feel. It's like a creamy coconut. Like a coconut milky type of effect. And then you're just getting a light little bit of sideline tropical notes from the 107. It doesn't seem to be bringing a real lot in. For the most part, I'm fairly underwhelmed, and actually I wasn't aware until only yesterday when I was doing some reading and I come across it that the 107 is actually a blend. I thought it was just a new hop variety, an actual new variety, but it's actually a blend. And I've got to say that up until this point in time, I've not been a fan of hop blends, commercial hop blends particularly. I've really not come across one that I've been super impressed with. And it could possibly be a personal thing, and maybe I'm getting too much of certain things that I don't enjoy in those blends. But the 107 really isn't bringing too much to this, to this beer. It's Sabro dominated, and when you've got, in this case, 100 grams versus 12 grams, that's really weird. In the lager, it's just balancing up really nice. It's actually getting more balanced as it's getting a little bit of age on it. As I said, all but 4 weeks old. Well, it would be 4 weeks old, not quite a month, so it would be the actual 4 weeks. And the hop flavours are really rolling together nicely, and it's just really sitting nicely against the malt. As I said, it's sweet, it's gentle hop there. It's probably a little on the light side for an India Pale Lager. Probably could have done with a little bit more hop oomph to really throw it up into that category. But as it sits on its as it is, it's a nice drop. And I think had the yeast been pitched in a more adequate number, I think it would have made and this gravity, I think had the gravity come down to like 110, even somewhere in that, even 111, even 112, a few extra points down, taking a little bit of that malt sweetness away and let the hops come up a little bit, and I think it would be a bit more spot on, because as it is, the hops aren't really playing big enough for an IPL. But I think that's really the yeast. That's the yeast issue, and that's my own fault for not really making it bigger. And the problem was I only had the one packet of the 3470. I didn't have anything else here, and I didn't have the time to make a starter with what was here. Had I realised a couple of days earlier, then I could have got a starter going, but I didn't, so that's where we ended up. And I really thought it would have gone a little bit lower than that, but that's where it finished. Overall wash up on this brew sits here. The grain bill, it works well for both these styles as your base. But the biggest issue here, the hops aren't really doing the job I would have liked them to have done in this beer. It's the Sabro is providing, as much as it's a nice flavour, it doesn't work. It's not really working in this style. It's not leaving it clean and crisp and fresh enough. I think a simple clean bittering hop like a Warrior or a Magnum, something like that, the Dr. Rudy would have worked better to get that initial snappy, little bit more snappy bitterness, and then something that's actually going to bring a little bit more fruit on. And yeah, you got a fucking plethora of hops you can use there. Whatever fruity hop you like. Citra, Amarillo, Mosaic, Galaxy, Strata, Eldorado, Cascade. It's a big list of hops. Whatever fruity hop takes your fancy, I think it's going to work well. I think last time I did this, I used Citra, and it's definitely going to give it a better finish. These beers that they are, I'm quite happy. Like I said, I'm happy with them. They'll get drunk, no problem at all. But they could have been better. But hey, that's home brewing, isn't it? Play around with stuff. We learn. I've learned from this that the Sabro is a hop I'm not going to use in a light beer again. It's definitely I think it's a dark beer hop. Would work beautifully in a porter, stout, dark ale. But it's not really the flavours you're looking for. Well, probably could work in a nice, if you turn me up with something else in a bloody, in a bit of matter. But that's something to play around with. Doesn't particularly work right here with this combination. So the NZ 107, I would quite happily stay away from that and not use it again. Hasn't done enough for me to make me go, I want to use it anymore. And I had 100 grams here, it's gone, so that's not going to be any problem. So that's it, guys. Brut IPA. I called it Brutus 2, just for the hell of it. But that's it. So as always, you got any comments, any questions, stick them down the bottom. Do you brew a Brut IPA? I know it's not a really popular style. It's not something that the guys are rushing at the brew. Do you brew IPL? Same thing. Not a very common style to get brewed. If you do, what do you use? What combinations are working for you? Let us know down the bottom. But other than that, for now, again, cheers to all the supporters of the channel. To the Patreons, JCA Dino. Congratulations once again, mate. All the Patreons, thank you very much for your support. Subscribers, thank you. If you aren't subscribed, hit the subscribe button down there in the bottom. If you're still here, hit the thumbs up. Give us a like, that also helps. But for now, that's me. So until I see you for the next beer we've brewed and tasted, which got a couple sitting there. I'm not sure which one will be the next video. There's an extract XPA, and there's a and the NEPA coming along. So you'll see one of them soon. But that's me for today. So until I see you again, we're brewing beer, drinking beer, or talking beer. Good brewing.